The Warriors just did something insane. The Warriors put up some unreal numbers last night, and the stats tell the whole story. Steph Curry was on a mission, lighting up the scoreboard with 40 points on an insane 60% shooting from the field. He was locked in from deep, knocking down 7 3-pointers like it was nothing. Every shot he took felt automatic, and he didn't even need a steal or a block to completely take over the game. His impact on the offensive end was undeniable, but his plus-minus was a surprising -16, which just goes to show how rough the start of the game was for the team. Even with that slow start, Curry's efficiency was ridiculous. Scoring 40 points on just a handful of missed shots is a testament to how locked in he was. The Warriors were down big early, but he never let that affect his rhythm. He also grabbed 4 rebounds and dished out 4 assists, proving once again that he's not just a scorer. He was finding teammates, making plays, and keeping the offense rolling. Despite how tough things looked in the beginning, it was one of those games where his shooting alone gave the Warriors a real chance to win, and that's exactly what happened. But it wasn't just Curry carrying the load. Jimmy Butler stepped up in a massive way, dropping 25 points while shooting nearly 54% from the field. His efficiency was a huge boost for the Warriors, and he showed up in every area of the game. He dished out 6 assists, grabbed 2 rebounds, and was a force on defense with 3 steals. His impact on both ends was huge, and his plus-minus of +17 was the highest on the team. That means when he was on the floor, the Warriors were absolutely rolling. Butler's scoring was crucial, but his ability to set up his teammates made all the difference. 6 assists in a game like this show how well he was moving the ball and creating opportunity. The Warriors needed every bit of his production, and he delivered in the biggest moments. His defense was just as important. 3 steals kept the Warriors in transition and gave them extra chances to chip away at the lead. His presence on the court was undeniable, and he continues to be a massive reason for the team's success since he joined the lineup. Draymond Green, as always, did a little bit of everything. He put up 7 points, pulled down 10 rebounds, and dished out 10 assists. Another near triple-double performance that helped hold everything together. Even though he didn't record a single steal or block, his fingerprints were all over this game. His shooting wasn't the best at 40%, and his plus-minus sat at -7, but that doesn't fully capture his value. Green's passing was elite, as usual. 10 assists proved just how much he was orchestrating the offense. He was constantly setting up his teammates and keeping everything flowing, which was crucial after that awful start. His rebounding was another big factor. Grabbing 10 boards helped the Warriors fight back from the deficit and control possessions. Even without a steal or block, his defense was active, and he made life tough for the Nets in key moments. Quentin Post was another bright spot. He finished with 10 points on 50% shooting, proving he could provide a spark when needed. He also grabbed 7 rebounds and handed out 2 assists. On top of that, he made a difference on defense with 2 blocks. His plus-minus of +13 showed how valuable his minutes were. Whenever he was on the floor, the Warriors were outplaying the Nets, and that's exactly what they needed to complete the comeback. Post's efficiency made a big impact, and his presence in the paint was felt. 7 rebounds helped the Warriors gain extra possessions, and his 2 blocks shut down some key scoring attempts from Brooklyn. He didn't need to put up massive scoring numbers to make his presence known. His all-around contributions played a huge role in this win. Then there was Gary Payton, who brought his usual energy. He finished with 16 points on nearly 58% shooting while grabbing 9 rebounds. His effort on the glass was a major boost, and even though he only had 1 assist, no steals, and no blocks, his hustle made a difference. His plus-minus of -15 might not look great, but the energy he provided went beyond just numbers. Payton's ability to finish plays was key. He shot at an efficient rate, and his rebounding gave the Warriors some crucial second-chance opportunities. Even though the stat sheet doesn't show a ton of defensive highlights, his presence was always felt on that end. He played tough, contested shots, and helped keep the Nets from getting too comfortable. Moses Moody also had a strong game. He put up 10 points on 57% shooting while adding 5 rebounds and 2 assists. His plus-minus was a solid +4, meaning he had a positive impact when he was on the floor. He played within the flow of the offense, took high-quality shots, and contributed in multiple areas. His ability to help on the boards and move the ball gave the Warriors exactly what they needed from him. Moody's efficiency was a big plus. 57% shooting on a night when the Warriors needed every bucket speaks to how locked in he was. He didn't try to do too much, but he made the most of his opportunities. His rebounding was another key factor. 5 boards helped keep the Warriors in control down the stretch. His assist numbers weren't off the charts, but he still helped move the ball and keep the offense flowing. Luis Santos rounded out the production with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. He shot an efficient 50% from the field and even added a steal and a block. His plus-minus of plus 12 showed just how well the team played when he was on the floor. He may not have had the biggest numbers, but his contributions were meaningful. Santos' ability to impact the game in different ways made him a valuable piece. He didn't need to score a ton to make his presence felt. He crashed the boards, played solid defense, and moved the ball well. His steal and block were huge momentum plays, and his plus-minus proves that the Warriors were thriving during his minutes. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, the Warriors. The stats from this game paint a clear picture. This team battled all night and found a way to win. Shooting percentages were strong across the board, and multiple guys stepped up to keep the Warriors in it. They had multiple players scoring in double digits, rebounding well, and making plays in different ways. It wasn't just about 1 or 2 guys. This was a team effort from start to finish. The comeback was a direct result of players stepping up in key moments, and the numbers prove it. The Warriors might have started slow, but once they found their rhythm, they never looked back. They erased another massive deficit and proved once again why they're such a dangerous team. They've now done this multiple times this season, and their ability to stay composed and fight back is something special. The shooting numbers, the rebounding, the assists, it all came together in the end. This wasn't just a good game. It was one of their most impressive performances of the season. They had every reason to fold early, but they locked in and made every stat count. The numbers don't lie. This was an unbelievable team effort, and the Warriors just keep finding ways to get it done. But watching last night, there's a few things I want to talk about. And first has to be the run Curry is on. Steph Curry is 36 years old, but if you watched him play last night, you'd think he was still in his prime. He put on an absolute show, dropping 40 points on 12 for 20 shooting, hitting 7 threes, and knocking down every single one of his 9 free throws. That level of efficiency is ridiculous, especially when you consider that he also grabbed 4 rebounds and dished out 4 assists. He made scoring look effortless, but at this point, that's just what he does. This isn't just a one-game stretch of greatness, though. Curry has been on a ridiculous scoring tear recently. Over his last 5 games, he's averaging 34.8 points per game. Think about that. He's nearly 37 years old, and he's putting up numbers that most superstars in their prime would be lucky to hit. And just the other night, he had a 56-point explosion, proving that he's still got the ability to take over a game like almost nobody else in NBA history. What makes this stretch even crazier is that he's not just scoring at a high volume, he's doing it with insane efficiency. Over his last 12 games, he's averaging over 30 points and 6 assists while shooting 69% true shooting. That's a level of shot making and playmaking efficiency that's almost unheard of. And if you look at the history books, there's only one name that shows up when you search for players who have done it: Steph Curry. That's right, he owns all 4 of the best streaks in NBA history for a player, averaging over 30 points and 6 assists on that efficiency. The oldest player to ever do it? Steph Curry, right now, at 36 years and 357 days. The second oldest? Steph Curry last year at 34 years and 319 days. The third? Also Steph Curry last year at 34 years and 238 days. And the fourth? Steph Curry in 2021 at 32 years and 322 days. No other player has ever touched this level of sustained greatness at these ages. He's not just aging well, he's redefining what's possible for a player in his mid-30s. And it's not like he's slowing down from deep either. He knocked down 7 threes last night, bringing his total on the season to 242. That puts him 3rd in the league, trailing only Anthony Edwards, who has 252, and Malik Beasley, who sits at 251. But with the way Curry has been shooting, it wouldn't be a shock if he passed both of them soon. The 3-point race is far from over, and if there's one guy you never bet against when it comes to long-range shooting, it's him. But it's not just about the numbers. Curry is still making the impossible look easy. He leads the entire NBA this season in shots made from beyond 35 feet. That's not a normal range for most players. For most guys, that's a desperation heave at the end of a shot clock. But for Curry, it's just another shot he's comfortable taking. And last night was the perfect example. That ridiculous buzzer beater right before halftime, he caught the ball, turned, fired from 38 feet, and walked off the court before it even went in. It didn't make sense, but that's just another day in the life of Steph Curry. Despite this insane stretch, he's still being overlooked in the MVP conversation. According to the latest MVP ladder, he's sitting at 8th. That's behind players like Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, both of whom are having great seasons, but neither of them are doing what Curry is doing right now. The top 3 in the MVP race are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And while all of them are worthy candidates, it's hard to ignore what Curry is doing at his age. He's not just playing well, he's breaking records, dominating games, and putting up numbers that nobody else has ever done in their mid-30s. Even before the game, he had one thing on his mind: winning. His pre-game message was simple: let's get this win. And despite the Warriors' disastrous start, he made sure that's exactly what happened. The team fell behind 22 points in the first quarter, and nothing was going their way. The offense was completely out of rhythm, Brooklyn couldn't miss, and even the officiating wasn't helping. Golden State didn't get a single foul call in the entire first quarter. It was frustrating, but Curry never lost focus. By the second quarter, things started to change. The Warriors began chipping away at the lead, and once Curry got rolling, the entire energy in the building shifted. By the time halftime was approaching, the Warriors had battled back to within single digits. And then right before the buzzer, Curry did what only he can do. He launched a deep 3 from nearly 40 feet and buried it, sending the team into the locker room down just 5. The entire momentum of the game had flipped, and from that moment on, it felt like Golden State was in control. The third quarter was ugly, but Curry kept them alive. Brooklyn regained the lead, and the Warriors' offense stalled for stretches, but he made sure they never fell too far behind. And once the fourth quarter started, he turned it up another notch. Golden State took control early in the fourth, flipping that 22-point deficit into a double-digit lead. It was a complete turnaround, and Curry was leading the charge. Then, with just over a minute left, he delivered what should have been the dagger, a deep 3 that put the Warriors up by 10. The game should have been over right there, but some sloppy mistakes let Brooklyn make it a little too close for comfort. Still, in the end, Golden State held on, and Curry once again proved why he's one of the most dangerous players in the league. This win also gave them a 10-1 record in games that Jimmy Butler has played in. Ever since he joined the lineup, the team has looked completely different, and Curry has been at the center of it all. Now, the Warriors head into a crucial 7-game homestand with a ton of momentum, and if Curry keeps playing like this, they're going to be a nightmare for any opponent. At 36 years old, he's still proving that he's one of the greatest offensive players to ever step on a basketball court. He's putting up numbers that nobody his age has ever touched. He's still breaking records, still climbing leaderboards, and still dominating games in ways that don't even seem possible. Every time people start wondering if he's slowing down, he goes on a stretch like this and reminds everyone that he's far from done. Curry's legacy is already cemented, but nights like this just add to it. 40 points on absurd efficiency, another ridiculous deep 3, and another clutch performance to lead his team to a comeback win. He's not just playing at a high level, he's rewriting the record books in real time. And with the way he's been playing, there's no telling what he's going to do next. But after that, someone else who was huge last night, Gary Payton. Gary Payton doesn't get nearly enough credit, but last night, he made sure everyone knew just how valuable he is. With Brandon Podziemski going down early with back soreness, the Warriors needed someone to step up, and Payton answered the call. He came off the bench and delivered a rare scoring and rebounding boost, finishing with a season-high 16 points on nearly 58% shooting. He also grabbed 9 rebounds, which was the second most on the team, and made his presence felt on both ends of the floor. Payton isn't known for his scoring, but when the Warriors needed him most, he delivered. Coming into the game, he was averaging just 5.9 points per game this season, but last night, he nearly tripled it, and he did it efficiently, knocking down his shots and giving the Warriors a much-needed spark when they were struggling early. His ability to finish around the rim and take advantage of open looks was crucial, especially with the team missing a key piece in the backcourt. His rebounding was just as important. He pulled in 9 boards, nearly doubling his season average of 2.9. And it wasn't just empty stats. His rebounds came at key moments, helping the Warriors gain extra possessions and control the tempo of the game. He grabbed tough defensive boards, fought for offensive rebounds, and played with the energy that makes him such an important piece of this team. The crazy part? Payton wasn't even a starter in the second half. Despite his impact, he remained in his usual bench role, but that didn't stop him from making one of the biggest impacts of the night. That's the kind of player he is. He doesn't need the spotlight, but when his number is called, he delivers. Everyone knows Payton is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, but his offensive efficiency this season has been completely overlooked. He's shooting over 60% effective field goal percentage, which means he's scoring efficiently, even with limited shot attempts. His true shooting percentage is even higher at 62.3%, proving that when he takes shots, he makes them count. Those numbers put him in the upper tier of efficiency across the entire league, and yet most people don't even talk about it. It's not just about scoring efficiency either. His impact is felt in nearly every statistical category. His offensive rating sits at 117.5, while his defensive rating is 112.9. That gives him a net rating of plus 4.6, meaning when he's on the floor, the Warriors are simply better. His rebounding has also been sneaky good this season. He's grabbing 2.9 boards per game, which puts him ahead of 72% of players in the league. That's impressive for a guard, but it gets even better when you look deeper. His defensive rebound percentage sits at 13.84%, meaning he's pulling in a high percentage of available defensive rebounds when he's on the floor. And on the offensive glass, he's grabbing 6.14% of available offensive boards, which is a huge number for someone his size. He might not be the tallest player on the court, but his hustle and timing allow him to get rebounds over bigger opponents. Last night was the perfect example of why Payton is so valuable to this team. His defense was as strong as ever, but his ability to step up as a scorer and rebounder in a game where the Warriors needed him most made all the difference. This is a guy who's known for locking down opposing guards, making hustle plays, and bringing energy. But people sleep on just how efficient he is offensively. He's scoring over 1.2 points per field goal attempt, which is better than 87% of players in the league. That's an absurd number for someone who's primarily viewed as a defensive specialist. He's not just playing great defense, he's making every offensive possession count. And when you dive deeper into his advanced stats, the impact becomes even clearer. He's in the top 64% of players in net rating, meaning he's making a positive impact whenever he's on the floor. His ability to contribute in multiple ways is exactly why the Warriors value him so much. He might not always put up big scoring numbers, but his presence makes them a better team on both ends of the floor. His rebounding is another underrated aspect of his game. He's not just grabbing easy boards, he's fighting for tough rebounds against bigger players and winning those battles. His defensive rebounding percentage is higher than 61% of players in the league, which is wild for a guard. And his offensive rebounding percentage is even more impressive, ranking ahead of over 60% of players. He's relentless on the glass, and that effort leads to second chance opportunities that don't always show up in the box score. What makes Payton even more valuable is that he's doing all of this while playing within the team system. He's not forcing bad shots, he's not trying to do too much, he's just playing smart basketball and making winning plays. He's taking high percentage looks, moving the ball, crashing the boards, and playing elite defense. Last night, his performance was exactly what the Warriors needed. With Podziemski going down early, they could have easily fallen apart, but Payton made sure that didn't happen. He stepped up in every way possible, and his energy helped spark the comeback. Without his contributions, this game could have easily gone the other way. And it's not just a one-game thing. Payton has been doing this all season. He might not be putting up huge scoring numbers every night, but his impact goes far beyond the box score. He's one of the most efficient role players in the league, and his ability to play elite defense while also contributing offensively makes him invaluable. The Warriors have always relied on their stars, but it's guys like Payton who help turn tough games into wins. He's the definition of a difference maker, someone who doesn't need the spotlight, but always seems to come through when the team needs him most. His ability to step up in this game wasn't just important, it was essential. The Warriors were in a tough spot early, but Payton's scoring, rebounding, and energy helped turn the game around. He played one of his best games of the season when the team needed it most, and that's exactly what makes him such an important piece of this squad. If last night proved anything, it's that Payton deserves way more credit than he gets. He's one of the best defenders in the league, one of the most efficient role players, and a guy who always steps up in big moments. The Warriors don't win this game without him, and if he keeps playing at this level, he's going to be a huge factor down the stretch of the season. But the last thing I want to talk about is how much JK will help this team once he's back. JK's return is going to give the Warriors an even bigger boost than most people realize. This team has already been one of the hottest squads in the league since the trade deadline, and now they're about to get back one of their most explosive young players. The Warriors have been rolling with Jimmy Butler in the lineup, going 10-1 with him on the floor, but adding Kuminga back into the mix could take them to another level. Before his ankle injury, Kuminga was playing the best basketball of his career. Over his last 6 games before going down, he was averaging 24.3 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 3.2 assists. He wasn't just putting up numbers, he was attacking the rim with aggression, getting to the free throw line at an insane rate. He was averaging 10 free throw attempts per game during that stretch, showing just how unstoppable he was when he decided to get downhill. That kind of offensive production is something the Warriors could desperately use, especially as they prepare for the playoff push. One of the biggest things Kuminga brings to the table is his ability to score in the paint. The Warriors have always been known for their three-point shooting, but having a player who can consistently pressure the rim makes the offense even more dynamic. Jimmy Butler has done a great job of bringing that physicality, but imagine what it's going to look like when he and Kuminga are on the floor together. Butler has already changed the way the Warriors play, but having another aggressive scorer who can attack mismatches and finish through contact will open up even more opportunities for the rest of the team. And it's not just his scoring that's going to help. Kuminga's rebounding is another area where the Warriors need him. He was pulling down 5 rebounds per game before the injury, ranking ahead of 63% of players in the league. His defensive rebounding percentage was at 13.05%, meaning he was securing a solid amount of boards on that end of the floor. But where he really makes an impact is on the offensive glass. He was grabbing 1.4 offensive rebounds per game, which put him ahead of 65% of players in that category. Having a guy who can crash the boards, keep possessions alive, and generate second chance points is huge for a team that relies so much on ball movement and spacing. Kuminga's ability to get out in transition is another major factor. The Warriors thrive in a fast-paced style, and he fits perfectly into that system. His athleticism allows him to run the floor, finish above the rim, and create easy scoring opportunities in transition. With Curry pushing the pace and Butler making smart reads, adding Kuminga's speed and finishing ability back into the mix is going to make the Warriors even more dangerous in the open court. But it's not just his offensive impact. His defense is just as important. Kuminga's versatility on that end of the floor gives the Warriors another strong perimeter defender who can guard multiple positions. His mixed team defense ranking puts him ahead of 85% of players in the league, showing how much he helps prevent opponents from scoring. He's averaging nearly 1 steal and over half a block per game. And while those numbers might not jump off the page, his ability to contest shots, switch onto different players, and disrupt passing lanes makes him an asset on defense. His on-ball defense has improved tremendously, and he's shown that he can take on tough assignments when needed. With Butler already bringing elite perimeter defense, having Kuminga back means the Warriors can throw multiple long, athletic defenders at opposing stars. That's something they'll need when facing teams with dominant wings and scoring guards in the playoffs. Another major factor is Kuminga's efficiency. He might not be the most polished offensive player yet, but he's been scoring at an efficient rate. His true shooting percentage was sitting at 62.3%, meaning he was maximizing his scoring opportunities. He was also putting up 1.2 points per field goal attempt, which put him ahead of 87% of players. That kind of efficiency is exactly what the Warriors need. Someone who can take high percentage shots and convert at a strong rate. One area that doesn't get talked about enough is Kuminga's playmaking. While he's not a primary ball handler, he was averaging 2.2 assists per game before his injury, which put him ahead of 59% of players in assist percentage. That might not seem like a huge number, but it shows that he's making the right reads and finding open teammates. When the defense collapses on him, he's also limiting his turnovers with a turnover percentage of just 8.01%, ranking ahead of 73% of players in the league. That's a big deal for a team that thrives on ball movement and minimizing mistakes. His usage rate before the injury was at 28%, meaning he was involved in a lot of the team's offensive possessions. That's a sign that the Warriors trusted him to create offense. And once he's back, he'll be able to take some of the scoring load off of Curry and Butler. Having another high usage player who can get his own shot, attack the basket, and create for others will make the offense even more dynamic. Kuminga's return also means more lineup flexibility for Steve Kerr. Right now, the Warriors are relying heavily on a shorter rotation, but getting him back will allow them to mix and match different looks. They can go with a small ball lineup featuring Butler and Kuminga as the forwards, or they can pair him with Draymond Green in a more traditional front court. His versatility allows the team to adjust based on matchups, which is a huge advantage heading into the postseason. The chemistry between Butler and Kuminga is going to be something to watch. While it might seem like a logjam at the forward spot, the two of them actually complement each other well. Butler is more of a playmaker who thrives in the mid-range, while Kuminga is at his best when attacking the rim and cutting off the ball. If they can find a rhythm together, the Warriors will have one of the most dynamic wing duos in the league. This team has already been surging, but getting Kuminga back takes them to another level. He was playing at an elite level before his injury, and now he'll be coming back to a team that's already firing on all cylinders. If he can pick up where he left off, the Warriors are going to be a nightmare matchup for any team in the league. The bottom line is simple. JK is going to make this team even better. His scoring, rebounding, defense, and athleticism are all things the Warriors have missed, and his return is going to give them an even deeper, more dangerous lineup. The Western Conference better be ready, because when he's back, the Warriors are only going to get scarier. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.